thing I was wanting to talk about that I didn't get to this weekend was, boys and girls, whether you know it or not, your world changed in a big way. This was history in the making. Pretty much every conspiracy theory we talk about on this show has been run through this particular group. And I am talking about Doge shutting down the USAID. What was where were the BLM riots? How are they getting their money? USAID. Why are there so many Congress people that have no business being elected, yet somehow we're elected every single year? USAID. Pretty much everything stupid and awful on the planet for the last 40 years has been going through the USAID. Basically, it was a CIA front, and it was a honeypot, or like a pot of gold for conspiracy theories. So they found it, they shut it down, and now the powers that be are very upset because they don't know how they're going to get their people in without their regular money. So obviously I'm not doing the greatest job explaining that, but this was a gigantic deal. If this is right, it's not just that we found their honeypot, like because I'm sure they have like multiple places where they're doing this. It's basically a hub. So they would take what's going on is the government would take your tax dollars. They would put it into USAID, and then they would funnel it into all these different kinds of programs. And then not only that, they would funnel it back to themselves. So, for example, Zelensky, he was talking about how they had, it was somewhere between 120 and 180 billion dollars sent to him. He said they only received 70 billion, and he was wondering where the rest of the money went. Hint, Congress. So
crazy.
Yeah, so it was an embezzlement racket. Why was Congress waving all those little Ukrainian flags when they got that spending bill passed? Because they were going to get a paycheck. That's why.
So is this why our country's in so much debt?
Yes, it's exactly why. They've been basically printing money like crazy and then giving it back to themselves through these groups like USAID. That's what's been going on. And then, of course, they've been humoring their special programs like transgender this and, everything terrible that.
But, all in the name of helping people.
Yeah. Well, it's what a hostile invading army does. I mean, these tactics that they're using, like they were sending, I think they were trying to build like a transgender play in Ireland or something like that. But those kinds of hedonistic tactics, they're mainly there to just like disrupt, Mm-hmm. Like these are all, like if you like encourage a society to be hedonistic, that makes them reactionary and stupid. So whenever you tell them, hey, this horrible thing that's happening is because of this group over there, then these reactionary hedonistic dummies will go attack the people you tell them to. So they encourage this hedonism to facilitate stupidity, and then they destroy the country and give them somebody to blame, like their government. And the whole time it's the USA just basically overthrowing power structures at their whim. So there's kind of a interconnect. People talk about, it's just like this liberal ideology and all this. It's like, it's not an ideology so much as it is a tactic to destabilize governments. The hedonism and the whatnot.
Yeah.
It's not just, because it's not like they actually believe transgenderism is good for people. They're trying to teach you to be, they're trying to teach you to be an idiot by following your heart or some such nonsense. So.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like in Iron Man where they were sending his stuff over to wherever, and he didn't actually know himself.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like that?
Kind of, yeah. Only the congressmen know what they're doing, or at least they know they're getting paid. So, but apparently, what's her name? Ocasio-Cortez. What is her first name? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That special.
Didn't she lose her job over?
She's really smart.
Well, how did she get in? USAID. So she actually worked for him before she was a bartender.
So you're saying USAID is funding the DEI thing?
No, they're putting plants in Congress so they can continue to get money. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the plant.
They're not behind the DEI thing?
I'm sure they are, yeah. That's another thing, DEI. I don't remember who exactly did that or who's like mainly pushing that. I know they're funding it through USAID. I think
it's mostly affecting California.
Yeah, I don't know. But here's what's really funny. This is what's crazy. Like, everybody's been blaming Soros for a lot of the funding for, like, the BLM riots and stuff, too. This is how nuts it is. it was Soros, but it wasn't, because Soros was giving a little bit of his money to this stuff, but he was actually getting the majority of his money from USAID. So it was like USAID money. USAID was giving money to him, and then he was giving it to the Tides Foundation and SEIU and all this. So it's insane. But this is how the CIA and these destabilizer guys, these characters that like to just overthrow countries, that's how they've been doing it. And so, yes, that means your country's being overthrown. You've actually been ran by the CIA since 1963, probably, but that's a whole other conversation.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
We all knew that.
Oh, yeah. It's not like we've been living under a coup or anything for forever. So, anyhow, so we had a couple videos of people much more intelligent than ourselves explaining this, and I thought we would take a look at those, starting with whoever I can actually get this stupid... Come on, where'd you go?
You had them pulled up.
I did. I did all this prep work, and it was for nothing. So we're going to start with, what is this YouTube channel? Cap Chatfield.
Yeah.
We're going to react to his video about this subject matter, and then we have something from Rogan, and then something from the one and only Alex Jones. So let's see here.
Did you know that your tax dollars are funding foreign countries while Americans struggle with homelessness and economic hardship? It's probably not very surprising to you, but it gets even crazier because instead of fixing problems at home, the government is actually pouring billions of dollars into overseas projects, many of which are tied to corruption and satanic agendas. I'll break it down. I'm not trying to be sensationalistic. I'm going to share with you exact
Satanic agendas. I'm assuming he means transgender stuff, right?
I mean, at the core of it, I guess you could call it satanic.
Very
Just to
broadly
get people
speaking.
in a state of fear, which, yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
why this is a spiritual issue and why you need to care about it. Now, Trump and Elon Musk are saying enough is enough. They want to shut down USAID once and for all. USAID is an agency exposed for working against U.S. interests. It sounds like it's a great project. We'll talk a little bit more about what it really is about shortly. And today we're going to break down what USAID really does, why Trump and Musk want it gone, and what the Bible says about wise stewardship, and ultimately where the world is going and why destroying USAID is actually going to prevent the rise of the Antichrist in the one world system. So it's going to be amazing.
All right, whoa, what?
Whoa.
That was quite the
tied
jump.
It all together.
I don't know how
So
we.
we're going right into Revelation.
He brings it up, yeah.
Needless to say, I have
Oh,
not
my.
screened this video. Otherwise, I would have gave a little qualifier there, little bit of a setup.
Sorry, I forgot that he said that part.
I was just wanting to talk about the CIA, and here we are getting into the Antichrist.
There will be many antichrists, as Jesus said.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other conversation. Yeah. So, all right, here we go.
Let's jump right into it. First, I have a clip for you from CNN. This clip is going to help kind of give a little bit of context.
What do you think about everybody saying Elon Musk is the Antichrist? I don't buy it.
I buy it.
You buy it? Why you buy it?
Because there will be many antichrists. And
Yeah, but there's going to be like one big one. Like there's a spirit of Antichrist and false prophets, and
Says
then
who?
there's the big guy. John.
Says who? John.
John says there are many antichrists, and then Paul talks about there being one in, I think, Thessalonians. And then, of course, Revelation, which is also written by John, talks about there being a main antichrist. So there is a spirit of Antichrist, specifically referring to false prophets, and then there's the main bad guy, if you will, at the end times.
So you don't think Revelation repeats itself?
No, I just think there's different categories. Like there's the big final Antichrist figure, and then there's the false prophets that have a spirit of Antichrist. They're two different people. I don't think, of course, Antichrist isn't mentioned in Revelation. Paul, I think, might mention him as the Antichrist, but he's, I think, the little horn in Revelations. Like he's got a different name in Revelation, but
Yeah.
that's a whole
I don't
other
know. I
thing.
think Revelation is mostly allegory. I know that's my opinion and not yours, but
Yeah, I know. I know.
yeah,
We'll have to explore that
I
at
think
some
the
point.
Antichrist could be viewed as a number of things. It could be an idea or an agenda.
Well, I think when people are talking about Elon Musk being the Antichrist, I think they mean the big bad for the end of the world, which I don't buy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
So,
either. That's what I'm saying. I think he's one of the many. I mean, he's just
why do you think? So you think he's on the bad team?
he wore a Baphomet costume for Halloween last year, bro.
Oh, that wasn't last year. It was longer than that. That was before. That's before the
Regardless.
liberals got a hold of his kid.
He did that to his kid. What do you mean?
He didn't do that to his kid. This is like he's joined Trump's team, because the assassination thing spooked him, but also he was mad about them doing the
Because
transgender
it's
thing to his
financially
kid.
beneficial. He's a DoD contractor.
I know he's a DoD contractor, but he doesn't have to side with Trump. Why? Like, if you're a DoD,
But it's beneficial for him too.
how Trump doesn't want any war.
Yeah. So what's Elon going to do as a DoD contractor if Trump doesn't want any war?
You tell me. I'm apparently misunderstanding something.
He's going to not be doing anything. He'll be useless. So of course he wants to be in Trump's back pocket, so Trump finds stuff for him to do.
So he sided with Trump so he could keep doing stuff, like so he wouldn't be
Jobless.
like just jobless.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just now talking about it, but yeah.
I don't know if
Makes
I
sense to
buy
me.
that.
I don't like Elon. I think he's a lying piece of shit.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other. That's just kind of I'm
Yeah.
surprised.
I mean, he didn't start PayPal. He lies about that. He lies about the SpaceX thing, the Tesla thing he stole from people. You know any of that stuff?
No, I don't know any of this stuff. I don't know
man.
any of it.
You got to watch that. Greg Reese does a video on Elon's background.
Oh,
You need to
Greg
watch it.
Reese.
It's on InfoWars.
Reese. Oh. You listen to Reese too, huh? He's like the one guy man, we're like polar opposite on everything. Greg Reese is like the one guy on InfoWars he drives me up the wall.
He does his research, man.
He's had a couple
does
good
his
videos. He pointed. What is the name of that guy? He's the one that pointed me to the book about schizophrenia being connected to demon possession.
Oh, Jerry
Yeah,
Lozinski?
yeah, he did point me to that fella. So I will thank Greg
Yeah.
Reese for that.
I mean, I don't listen to Greg religiously, but his Elon video is pretty old. I mean, it's like probably 4 years old.
Yeah, well, that Baphomet thing, like Elon, it's no secret Elon Musk was a giant liberal for forever. But from what I understand, like when his kid got sucked into the transgender movement, he decided to go to war and kind of burn down the system that did that to his kid. From what I understand, he's been on the warpath because of that. That was the story I was told. Now, he was a liberal before, but then... And I could see that, if somebody messes around and does something like that to your kid, yeah, you might. That would persuade me to change my opinion on a few things. So
Yeah, I get that angle. He's been a scumbag his whole life, so I'm not giving up that easy.
Well, maybe you're just a cynic, Cody.
Yeah, maybe I am. Maybe I am.
All right, so... Okay, now that we've talked about that. Trevor, you got any thoughts? Anything to add to this productive conversation?
On Elon,
Yeah.
I just think he has autism and he's really smart. That's all I got.
It's been wonderful watching the Democrats lose their mind. I will say that, like, while we're on the topic. Like, watching them, they used to celebrate him because of the electric car thing. Now he's like public enemy number one.
Yeah.
They're going, he's the co-president! He's really in control of the country! Yeah.
And
So-
they can't stand his electric car anymore.
Oh, yeah, now it's evil. It was great 1 minute.
That's another thing. Man, those cars are junk.
Yeah.
They're junk.
Until you try and blow them up.
And they work really good for that, right?
I'm not surprised that they're, like, bad. I'm sure, like, any new technology is going to suck at first.
Oh, I had
So-
one
It's
follow
not
me
new
home
though,
from work.
dude. They had electric cars in like 1920.
What?
I ain't even playing. Yes.
All right,
Yeah,
tell me
what's
this
his name?
story. Tell me this story. I haven't heard this. There were electric cars in 1920. Was this a Tesla thing or is this something else?
Yeah, I think it was Tesla. Maybe.
I have no
let's
clue.
see.
Yeah. Look this
Look
up.
it up.
Look this.
1920.
I am very intrigued. But we got to get back to USAID eventually here. That's what we teased. This isn't
The
the
first
Elon
electric
show.
car was 1830.
1830?
That's what it says.
According to who?
The internet,
Google.
That narrows it
Car
down.
and Driver magazine.
Car and Driver. So why didn't it catch on? If it was 1830, why didn't it catch on?
Because it was before its time.
Back then, batteries were refillable. Like you could, you've seen old batteries, right?
Uh-uh.
Like you can dump the water out and put new water in them.
Dude, assume I am really stupid. I don't know
Okay,
what you
so
mean.
the way a battery it's like lead plates in distilled water,
Okay.
and over time that distilled water just wears out
Okay.
because it separates the hydrogen from the water or whatever and makes power. And so over time that distilled water wears out, and you could add water to batteries and they would work again.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Now they're all sealed and you can't do that. But I mean, yeah, this technology's been around forever, dude. And so, like, with that being said, like if you can just rebuild batteries like that, obviously they can't capitalize on that once they sell the car. Whereas, like with a gas car, you can,
Make it break on purpose.
capture the petrol market and
Gotcha. So you're saying
use
that
it.
they use the combustible engine so they could continue to make money off the product, rather than going with a battery operated
Yeah.
car, which was a one and done deal.
right.
Interesting.
I mean that's my
See, I hadn't heard any of
synopsis
that.
on it.
I hadn't heard any of that. That is very you're introducing me to a whole new world, Cody.
It's a whole new world.
Copyright. You didn't hear that, YouTube.
Hi, Disney.
All right.
Don't you dare close it.
All right, back to this thing.
Into what is going on with this whole thing with USAID.
This news has learned at least 2 top security officials at the U.S. Agency for International Development, also known as USAID, they've been placed on administrative leave. This move came after the 2 officials refused to allow personnel from the Elon Musk-run, quote, Department of Government Efficiency to access classified materials. In a conversation on X overnight, that's his private social media platform, Musk said he spoke with President Trump about the future of USAID and that Trump approves of this move. CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi joins me now to talk about what all of this means. Olivia, what more do we know about the access Doge was trying to get?
Doge.
Yeah, good morning to you, Errol. We're here outside the USAID headquarters in Washington, D.C., where staffers were told late last night not to come into the agency today and await further instruction. Now, this comes after a flurry of activity this weekend. As you mentioned, those 2 top security officials, the director for security and the deputy director for security at USAID, were placed on administrative leave on Saturday night after reports that Elon Musk and members of Doge were trying to access classified material at USAID. Katie Miller, the spokesperson for USAID, said that no classified material was accessed, and the White House is denying that report. But we also know that staffers were locked out of their emails over the weekend for USAID. And this comes as Trump says he's looking to perhaps overhaul the entire agency. Last night, upon landing at Joint Base Andrews, Trump called USAID a bunch of lunatics and said he'll be looking at the
I missed President Trump.
Lunatics. Doge.
All right, is he going to talk any about the actual functions of USAID, because we already knew that they'd shut the place down. Does he go into any detail about what they were doing?
He did when I watched it, but like I said, they took his video down and then he reposted it. So I had it saved, and this one I had to look this one up. He reposted it, so it's been edited since I watched it.
So the CIA is using its dwindling funds to go after us lowly YouTubers.
I don't know why they took it down, but he edited it.
Huh. Well, we'll go
For
on
some
to
reason.
We'll go on to the next one, because I really want to go into the details here, because I can't. I'm doing a very lousy job explaining it, but I can't stress enough how this changes everything. This is going to be probably one of the biggest thing the Trump administration does.
Yeah,
Because-
when I watched Cap's video the other day, he had the list of where all the money went.
Oh, it's
Like
crazy.
he actually had a list of all that money and where it went,
Yeah.
and it was on that video. So he edited it out, I think.
That's wild. That's wild. Not surprising, but wild. Yeah, no, this was their pot of gold. You know,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like just their barrel of money that they need whenever they need to push an agenda. You know, they reach in and grab a handful.
yeah. And you knew they were doing it, but we didn't know exactly how. You know, like we
Yeah.
knew that they were funding. Nobody actually thinks these people actually run their own campaigns and raise money on their own organically. It's not like
Right.
It's not like Nancy Pelosi's actually that charismatic. You knew they were getting money. So the question was, how are they doing it? And this kind of explains what the mechanism was. And now that we have the mechanism and the methodology, we can find these other little pots that they've got stashed around, and we can gut them. Like, this is excellent. Like, I hope we get it all, because I would love to see a day where we're not, getting the Project Mockingbird version of Hollywood and actually have merit count
Right.
for something again instead of just
Real
whoever gets
talent.
the most money. Yeah, like real talent. Because I think they were probably using this same kind of thing for like rap and all sorts of music
Guaranteed.
and like the whole deal. Because there's no way that rap has actually stayed this culturally relevant for like 40 years at this point. It's like before then,
It used to be cool, man.
yeah, but now it's like just degenerate garbage. And so, I mean, I'm sure the CIA, again, trying to destabilize, had something to do with that. And this explains how they were
I
doing it.
think that's admitted already. That's
I
already.
think,
Alex Jones has the documents. You know.
yeah, well, I think Ice Cube and different guys have said that was what was going on. Was the CIA was pressuring the producers. But how they were getting the funding, that was the question.
Yeah.
And that's why
It's
this is a
important.
big deal. Because now that we know that they're using the GMOs or the GNO? Yeah, GMOs, the government program people.
DEI.
No, not DEI. This is
What GMOs? That's plants.
I don't remember the exact term, but basically there are government employees and government like institutions like think tanks, groups like the Red Cross, for example.
Yeah.
Groups like that. They're funneling the money through groups like that. USAID would be another example of this, and they're just distributing it to more destabilizing projects rather than giving food to the poor or something. So, but they were using the charities, as it were, to push their agendas in secret. So now that we know that they're doing that, we kind of have a better idea of where to look, and we can start dismantling this whole thing. So, this is like a mortal blow to this entire globalist combine or whatever you want to call it. So,
Nice. Yeah, let's see what old Joe the Doe says.
yeah,
I
Yes.
found that list if you want me to just read it.
go for it. Do you have a link? I can share it.
I found his original video, and it's an hour long, but let me see.
Yeah, if you could get a picture of that list, that would be great, and then we could just
It's on-
read it. Because I
It's
think,
on X.
oh, it's on X. Excellent. Is it your account?
Excellent.
You can probably find it on the X account.
See how punny I am? Dad joke of the evening. So, all right. So what's this list called? Is it USAID list?
This is how much our taxpayer money doesn't actually.
No, that ain't it. All right, let me get out of here before I.
Dang it.
Okay, here we go. What about this? We got a list examples of USAID wasteful spending so far. All right, let's see. You see what I'm looking at, Trevor?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it? Okay. This is just a sampling, boys and girls. This is a sampling of where our tax money went. This should make you feel good and warm inside. 260 plus million in grants to George Soros-backed institute. So this would be like the Tides Foundation, SEIO, the unions. This is basically they were paying people who like had factory jobs to go out and burn stuff to the ground. That would be that. That would be the George Soros Institute, or type of institutes, backed institutes. 150 billion outlined by USAID's climate strategy for a whole of agency approach to building an equitable world with net zero greenhouse gas emissions. That means they get a car and you don't. 7.9 million to teach Sri Lankan journalists how to avoid binary gendered language, i.e. masculine, feminine pronouns and nouns. That's destabilization. Somebody wants to overthrow the government of Sri Lanka. All right, 1.5 million for art for inclusion of people with disabilities. Okay, so some uncle got a fancy check or something. I don't know. 6 million to transform digital spaces to reflect feminist democratic principles. Don't know what those are. Women in the draft. I'm going to call that women in the draft. 2.1 million to help the BBC value the diversity of Libyan society. So Britain wants Libya. 10 million worth of USAID funded meals, which went to an Al-Qaeda linked terrorist group. So they're feeding the terrorists. We gotta have a bogey to fight. 25 million for Deloitte. What is that? Deloitte to promote green transportation in the county of Georgia. Country of Georgia. Okay, my bad. Country of Georgia. So green transportation. So they want to ruin the Georgian people's cars. 2.5 million to promote inclusion in Vietnam. Okay, are we going back there too? 16.8 million for a separate inclusion group in Vietnam. Yeah, we're definitely going back to Vietnam. 20 million for a group related to a key player in the Russian Gate impeachment hoax. So they paid somebody 20 million to push that stupid narrative. 1.1 million to an Armenian LGBT group. You leave Armenia alone. It is a beautiful country. 1.2 million to help African Methodist Episcopal Church service.
I told you he's Armenian, Trevor. He's a little biased.
It is a beautiful land.
Got hair all over his back.
Shush. Hair all over my back. How dare you?
That's good.
1.2 million to help the African Methodist Episcopal Church Service and Development Agency in Washington, D.C. build a state-of-the-art 440-seat auditorium. Okay, so they helped a church with an auditorium.
So we don't want to be Episcopal.
Methodist
apparently.
Episcopal. Okay, get it right,
Yeah.
Cody. Gosh.
I don't even know what any of that means. Hermeneutics.
That's not even close.
What does that word mean?
Hermeneutics?
Hermeneutics.
No, it's a how to read the Bible properly, like a study of how to study the Bible. if you will.
Allegedly.
Shush.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. 1.3 million to Arab and Jewish photographers. 1.5 million to promote LGBT advocacy in Jamaica. 1.5 million to rebuild the Cuban media ecosystem, because that's what we need to do. Help the communists with their media. 2 million to promote LGBT equality through entrepreneurship in Latin America. 500,000 to solve sectarian violence in Israel. This was just 10 days before the Hamas October 7th attack. So, hintity, hint, hint, hint. I've always suspected the CIA was behind that, but anyway. 2.3 million for artisanal and small-scale gold mining in the Amazon. So we're mining for gold in the Amazon, okay? 5.5 million for LGBT activism.
We need some money to get some money.
We need to spend
It's
money.
an investment. It's an
The same amount of
investment.
money.
So apparently, we got 5.5 million for LGBT activism in Uganda. So our government wants Uganda too. 6.3 million for men who have sex with men in South. Well, why did we drop the LGBT activism thing? Like, why do we have to go to that qualifier here? It's not just LGBT. It's men who have sex with men in South Africa.
Well,
That's-
they're just a little more literal in South Africa.
That's
they're like,
oddly
we don't want to
specific.
talk about the LGBT. It's men having sex with men.
Right. We must be rebranding in South Africa. Okay. So
Yeah.
They're not ladyboys.
Yeah, they don't care about your rhetoric.
well, they already
They just want to
caught.
call it what it is.
Yeah. Let's just be blunt about it, I guess. So 8.3 million for USAID education, equity, and inclusion. 43 million on a gas station in Afghanistan that had no customers.
That's a good one.
$43 million on a gas station.
Oh my!
Wow. Yeah,
I
somebody
wonder what's in the gas.
didn't get a payout.
Trans-Serbian.
Boys and girls, this is what's
I knew a
called
Serbian guy once.
embezzlement. Yeah. This is definitely
Condoms to the Taliban.
I'm-
Condoms to the Taliban.
Huh. I don't know what to
That
make of
doesn't
that.
that doesn't make any sense.
The Taliban's all dudes.
Oh, so they need condoms.
Apparently, I don't know why.
That's why it doesn't make any sense.
That's exhausting. That's exhausting. Even okay. 4 million for trans Serbians. Is Serbia? I'm sure Serbia is a country. Anyway, we want to probably go to that area too. 425,622 dollars to help Indonesian coffee companies become more climate and gender friendly. So there you go, boys and girls. But it was so much deeper than this. I mean, obviously, the point is this money didn't go to any of that crap except probably the BBC. This was getting into people's pockets and getting basically, these are all variations of destabilization projects in other countries.
You can see proof that it was being funded. I mean, that agenda is heavily pushed in a lot of places. So
Yeah.
like, some of this was definitely going to what they wanted it to.
Yeah, but it was mainly, I would say it was mainly to destabilize the country, not actually push those movements. So
Yes.
So there you go, boys and girls. That's your taxpayer dollars at work. So
Yeah. It really makes me want to pay taxes.
I know, right? I mean, I'm feeling so patriotic right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad they shut it down. That's all I gotta say. So
Do you
here,
think
Allegedly.
he'll actually be able to shut down the IRS?
oh gosh, that would be wonderful. Life would
I
be a
doubt it.
dream if we could shut down the IRS. Anyway,
I mean, they would be. Oh God, they'd be getting rid of so much infrastructure.
we could
I
do
just
it.
Yeah, but I just don't think they will.
I don't know, man, because if Trump went after them this hard so far, we're like 3 weeks in. Like the Democrats' world is completely falling apart in like just 3 weeks. Like 40 years worth of infrastructure has been destroyed. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes after the IRS. I mean, this is like do or
don't know,
die,
man.
total takedown right now. I'm not saying he
'Cause
will,
everything-
but it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
Everything the government does is consent based, right? They have to have your consent for them to do something to. So like you consent to pay taxes.
I didn't.
The first time you pay taxes, you do. You consent to it.
Yeah, but having a loaded gun to your head, is that really consent? I mean, I guess I consent to not being shot or thrown in jail, so I guess I'll pay taxes.
But it's like if you avoid taxes your whole life, I mean, I'm saying this, pay your taxes, y'all, because they'll throw you in jail. But if you avoid paying taxes your whole life, like you're never in their books
Uh-huh.
because the IRS is a private entity. So
Yeah.
it's like once you consent to it, like you're in, right? And so if they got rid of the IRS, they'd have to do all of that again.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to, and so like they would lose their funding for the whole government would lose their funding for, you're talking about like 50 years, man.
I'm not saying
'Cause
there
they have
wouldn't
to-
be a transition, but I am saying that they could get rid of the IRS.
I don't know.
Like, you just need to simplify the system. Like, it's so big because it's bloated. Most
Yeah.
of it's just redundancy. If you had a flat
I
tax
agree.
of some
If they
kind,
restructured it,
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
Yeah,
But
you-
I don't see them just getting rid of the IRS because they need that consent, and they already have it with that. So
well, they need people to pay taxes somehow. But,
Right.
you know, I don't think you need the IRS for that. I think you just need a
I don't either.
simplified version. So, yeah.
But they do need your consent.
Well, yeah, if you're going to be a citizen, I guess. But
Right. And so if they got rid of the IRS, nobody's going to give that back to them.
I guess.
Nobody would consent to a new system. They'd be like, no.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think people are ready to get rid of the IRS. Nobody likes the IRS.
Yeah, but you think they're just going to sign up for a new program?
If it's like
They're
a
like,
flat
oh,
tax.
look at our new tax system.
If
I
it's
don't
a
know,
flat
dude.
tax, it's simple. I think people would. Yeah,
Maybe.
I think they would. Nobody like.
If I could disavow, paying taxes and then not do it anymore, I'm gonna go that route.
I have no problem with paying taxes. It's just I don't want it going to crap like what we just read. You know.
Yeah, it would be nice to be able to pick and choose. Like our roads are really crappy. And, hey, I want my taxes to go towards our roads. I'd be
Well,
happy
that's
to
state
pay
taxes.
that.
You can do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can call the capital, call your governor, write him a letter. Like, hey, reallocate money.
They will never allow that. Their embezzlement thrives on those crappy roads.
The state?
Yeah, I'm sure the state has an embezzlement racket for roads too.
Yeah.
Because your
I don't
toll
know.
system totally fixed everything, Cody. In Oklahoma, those toll roads, they really did the job.
What do you mean?
I'm saying the roads in Oklahoma are the worst in the country, and I have some authority on that because my dad's in tourism. No,
All right, unless you go to
I don't think they're
Louisiana.
worse, but they're pretty. I haven't been. It's been a long time since I've been to Louisiana.
Louisiana's worse.
You think so? Well, point is though, Oklahoma has some of the worst roads I have ever seen, and the tolls were supposed to fix that, and they didn't, because your politicians are making money. So
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's all. If you can make things simple, you can get rid of a lot of these embezzlement issues. The convoluted nature of the IRS is what makes programs like USAID possible. You have something like a flat tax or something, they can't as easily do this because they're able to play games with like terms, how to group different amounts of money and stuff in different categories. And that's how they're able to pull this off. But you simplify the system, they can't do as much of that. They'll still be able to do all of it to an extent, but you get rid of the ambiguity, you lessen it. That would be my argument.
Yeah, for sure.
So, let's see what old Joe Rogan has to say.
All right.
Yeah, I did not pre-watch this one, so.
Okay. Well, hopefully he's... I'd be shocked if Joe Rogan brought up the Antichrist, though, so I think we're okay.
900 more are currently in some stage of development, but that's where it goes into like where they are, what they have to be done, and who's getting the money from them. It has to be done through a long process from each state.
Yeah, the question is, how can we get a proper accounting? As you point out, who the hell is factcheck.org?
Well, that's the problem with fact-checking organizations. That should really be illegal. Like, I think if you're a fact-checking organization, we should have stringent rules on what influence is being peddled, like who's paying.
I think we need to go back to the beginning of this because they're talking about fact checkers. All right, let's just play this from the beginning.
Explained it the last time he was here, and I don't think I really grasped it.
Mike Benz is who he's talking about. Mike Benz has been the one really doing the research on this USAID stuff. So if you want to actually know something learn about this from people who know what they're talking about, go see Mike Benz. He's been the one that's kind of spearheading the research into USAID. Mike Benz. Let's see.
Until Elon's 6 wizards, he brought in some young wizards to go in there and go over the books, and they are just finding crazy shit. It's great, and it's so interesting. I was listening to a left-wing podcast today. I like to mix it up. I listen to all kinds of different stuff, and it was like I was listening to a different world. Like, they weren't even talking about all of this corruption and all this obvious buying of influence. Instead, they were talking about aid overseas and how people are going to starve. And I'm like,
it's mind-boggling, and there's also, I have to say, I'm upset at the general pattern of a failure to recognize how right those of us who hypothesized that there was a racket that had overtaken our entire governance structure. We turn out to be absolutely right about this, and no one's going to mention it. That's mind-blowing.
It's very strange that the media is ignoring it, especially the left-wing media. It's just too big of a win for the right, and so they're just ignoring it.
But it's not strange, though, because
Was
USAID was funding their paycheck. So, like, that was the other thing. Yeah, Politico is going to go under. The New York Times, I heard from somebody, was going to go under. Like, news organizations are going to go out of business because they're not getting their government money anymore. So it's not surprising that they won't talk about it. They were getting bought off.
Wasn't this guy behind all this? He was behind like the COVID shot and all that.
Brett Weinstein?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No. Brett Weinstein's one of the guys that stood up to it. He's been doing research on the after effects of these vaccines. He's one of the guys
like
that's
2 years
opposing
late.
it. Yeah, there's a lot of people that
He
are
was
late.
way late on that.
I don't think he's been spearheading it, though. Francis Collins and Fauci
He didn't.
were spearheading
He didn't
it,
start
but-
talking about Fauci and the COVID shots until like it was okay to talk about it.
That might be, but I don't think he's been spearheading or leading the charge against or making people take vaccines or wanting people to take vaccines or whatever.
Maybe not, but he was definitely on board with it at the beginning. And so, like he said, "Oh well, we knew about all this." It's like, who are you?
Well, I think he's talking about just the USAID, like the racket that these guys had, because they had to have some sort of game going on to make all this money. I think that's what he's referring to. Although I should point
You don't
out,
think the COVID people are about the same people?
oh yeah, that's what I'm about to say. Like the COVID people, like got money from USAID as well. Like this was how they were funding the beta function stuff. I believe was through USAID too. So that's BLM, beta function or gain of function research. Yeah. Like all of it's been from this organization. So
but he's saying he called it out in the beginning, and I say he's wrong.
I'm not sure that's what he said, but you want to listen to it again? Maybe I missed it. Let's see here.
Sure.
Taken our entire governance structure, we turn out to be absolutely right about this, and no one's going to who hypothesized that there was. I'm upset at the general pattern of a failure to recognize how right those of us who hypothesized that there was a racket that had overtaken our entire governance structure. We turn out to be absolutely right about this, and no one's.
So he's talking about a general racket. The government
but
has
he
a
was
racket.
behind the government plan in the beginning,
No,
and he said he was not from the very beginning.
He wasn't behind the government plan. Like,
He was all worried about COVID in the beginning. He was talking about wearing a mask with his wife and all that crap.
oh, you mean like supporting it? Like, I'm
Yes.
sorry. When I hear behind, I'm thinking like he's Fauci pulling puppet
Oh, no,
strings
no.
and stuff. Okay, no, I see
No.
what you're saying. He supported it in the
followed-
beginning. Okay,
He
I
fell
hear
in
you.
line real quick.
Gotcha. Okay,
And
I'm
now he's
tracking.
saying, "Oh well, we were in the beginning. We called it out." No, you didn't.
Okay, I'll take your word for it because I haven't seen his stuff like pre 2020 or during 2020. I wasn't watching him when it happened, so I'll take your word for it. So
All right.
I just know that he was. I don't know. Last time he was on Rogan, he was quoting some new statistics about the vaccines and how they are, killing people, which Jones was saying they were right as soon as they were introduced.
Right.
So that's a whole other can of worms.
Going to mention it. That's mind-blowing.
It's very strange that the media is ignoring it, especially the left-wing media. It's just too big of a win for the right, and so they're just ignoring it. And then they're just highlighting the good things that USA did, which I'm sure it probably did. Probably had to do some good things to like at least justify its existence.
As a cover story, I'm not even sure. Maybe it doesn't change anything. Obviously, this was a mechanism used to funnel money to all sorts of things that we didn't vote on, that don't make sense in light of our constitutional structure. And I obviously have concerns like everybody else about where this train takes us. But seeing that structure broken up it's a huge relief.
They gave $27 million to the George Soros Prosecutor Fund. So our own government is funding this left-wing lunatic who is hiring the most insane prosecutors who are letting people out of jail who commit violent crimes.
And that's exactly how this racket worked, is that the ability.
another go-to tactic of the communists in the Gulag Archipelago, by the way. Be really nice to the criminals. Let them out. Let them do what they want. So you have thugs to enforce your laws later. But that's a whole other deal. Yay, communism. Yep. So let's move on to Alex Jones before we wrap this topic up.
If you want to watch that Joe Rogan one, it's like a little over 2 hours long, the original one on Joe Rogan's channel. That was just a clip. So
sweet. So this gentleman right here, yeah. So go ahead and watch Joe Rogan's thing because I'm sure they've got a lot of good stuff on it. You know, and we're just a bunch of people reacting to something like third or fourth way down the stream, as it were. So let's see. So this gentleman right here is Mike Benz. He's the guy that's been doing the bulk of the research on the USAID stuff, and he's been at it for years. So let's see what he has to say. Is everybody good? Everybody's looking like in the same spot.
as far as I know.
Everybody's good? Okay. All right. Thought we had a technical glitch or something for a second.
You can glitch me if you want.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
I'm 20 hours a day committed, and I hate it when I go to sleep. I jump.
Has every past president for the last 20 years.
I agree.
Lay off the CMOS, man. Good night.
It's all them boner pills, man. I'm telling you.
Oh,
I
wow.
want some.
That was a little intense. I was a little shocked by that. I'm like, it's too late in the night for that, dude. Goodness gracious. Whew.
I'm Alex Jones. I have the documents.
All right. Let's see. I know this is going to be an intro. Let's see if I can skip ahead to it. Okay, we'll start here.
But the fact is, it's all one-sided for one group, one organization against another group of people. And then it's coordinated with lawfare and legal teams and PR firms to destroy people. That's racketeering. That's organized crime.
The government fears Alex Jones, who has the largest audience in the country, bigger than any of the networks, the biggest megaphone in the country.
The deep state.
It's almost like you watch a whole bunch of Alex Jones videos and you can guess when his intros are.
Shush. Yes.
Hates Alex Jones with a vengeance.
Alex Jones is the most extraordinary person I've ever met.
That's quite a statement.
Let's play a clip.
That is a statement. It's quite a statement, yes.
Mike Benz talking about the mafia-style organization and how these different kingpins are all getting money from the money they apportion in Congress that goes back to them. Here it is.
Wow, I gotta go. This is amazing. I need to have you back on really soon, Mike. But really quickly, if you can tell me in 15 or 20 seconds, has every past president for the last 20 years known about this corruption with USAID and just chose not to do anything about it?
Well, most of them are on the take. Joe Biden was the head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, which directly oversees USAID. USAID was funding Burisma. USAID gave money to Burisma and had a formal partnership agreement with Burisma. Barack Obama's mother worked for USAID. And the Bush family runs right through it. Bush's, Vice President Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney worked for USAID. Yeah, they're all in on it. And this is the reason that the Trump revolution was so revolutionary. It's because it defeated both sides of the USAID snake. And now we're going to see just exactly how the snake bites back when it's cornered.
I wonder if all of the lawfare and the everything that they threw at President Trump in his first term, the Russiagate, the collusion, all the stuff. I wonder if that was just to try to keep him on his heels enough to not look at USAID. But
wait, but that was a USAID thing
Mike
too.
Benz, appreciate you.
Can I say this one thing real quick? No, I have to say this.
Yes.
Okay. USAID funded a group called the OCCRP. Everyone can look this up. They paid $20 million to a group of hit piece journalists who turned around and dug up dirt on Rudy Giuliani and then used that as the basis to impeach the sitting president, Donald Trump, in 2019.
And it's all in there about yours truly as well. So let's move quick through some of this.
What do you think, gentlemen?
Mother, my name is Barack Obama, and I need you to run a smear campaign on all the Alex Jones people. Okay?
Yep, pretty much.
Thanks, Bob.
I think USAID actually funded the trials against Jones too, by the way. Like they're behind all of it. Like It's insane.
Are they behind
Sandy Hook?
I don't think we're legally allowed to say. Just saying. So
I'd bet apples to oranges or whatever they say.
I think that there's been a little more to the school shootings than meets the eye. I think there's been some. There
Indeed.
shouldn't be as many of them as there are. Let's
Brett
put it
Weinstein
that way.
was calling it out as soon as it happened. You know.
Oh. Well, there
Not.
you go. That is interesting, though. Some people are. I'm not saying Brett Weinstein is doing this. I don't know, but some people are just like, I knew it all along after it already happens. So.
Everybody does that.
Yeah.
You got to call them out on it.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? Oh, you're gonna say something.
Then show proof that it actually happened, and even then they'll still call you a conspiracy theorist.
Oh yeah, when they decide to come out with UFOs, they just won't call them UFOs. They'll call them UAPs, so the rednecks can't get the credit. They're that petty. They're that petty.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's see if he's got anything else interesting to say before we wrap this up.
Trump launches investigation into USAID funding, receipts, and more. Federal judge poised to prevent Doge from reviewing financial transactions. That'll get overridden, but they're desperately trying to block it. By the way, this lady famously put pro-lifers in prison for years for peacefully standing out front of abortion clinics. I mean, these people are real tyrants. So, continuing here. This is Tom Renz coming up, lawyer. Musk reposted this, breaking down, is this legal? And it's all right there in the executive order, and the law will show you the facts on that. I was mentioning this, great reportage, exclusive. Stanford University, through USAID funding, took down Parler and targeted, who's on the list? Tucker Carlson, Laura Loomer, Sean Hannity, Dan Bongino, Mark Levin, Eric Trump, the Babylon Bee, PragerU, Alex Jones, and Gateway Pundit, and more. And it's all coming out, and it's all in the documents.
It's all in the documents.
Here's another one.
He's got a lot of documents.
At least 40,000 Fed workers accept Doge buyout as deadline looms tonight. He told the whole CIA, any of you can quit you want. If not, I'll fire you anyways. Musk, Doge agents access sensitive personal data, alarming security officials. Just more of that garbage. Musk has got your social security number. He's going to do something to you. Musk is investigating FAA computer systems to talk about upgrading and making them better. He doesn't know anything about aeronautics. Musk crashes with Republicans.
Yeah.
So explain to me as best you can, what is Doge? Because Doge was a cryptocurrency. So is it now an organization?
Yeah, it's different. It's not connected to the cryptocurrency. It's just it's just an acronym Elon Musk came up with. It's the Department of Government Efficiency. So they're basically going through and tracking down the embezzlement. That's really what it boils down to. So all the different ways that Democrats and different people have been misspending the money, they're just going down and tracking it, and follow the money, you follow the bad guys is essentially what's happening. You find the bad guys if you follow the money. That might be a better way to put it. Yeah. So by doing this, though, they basically, it was really interesting. Elon Musk actually put out a tweet. I think Jones talks about it. But the way they found USAID is when Trump signed all those executive orders, they basically just sat back and watched to see who didn't follow the rules, who didn't follow the orders. And USAID wound up being the biggest culprit. They wouldn't do anything Trump said. So they started looking at them first, and it took them about 5 minutes to realize there's a bunch of funny business going on. And they wouldn't give them any documents, so they eventually had to shut the place down and get the employees out of there so they could start looking at stuff.
Yeah, so, now if you try and actually go to their website's completely taken down too.
Yeah. So they've been shut down, which is fantastic.
I want somebody to explain. So back in the day when Biden first got elected, whenever you typed in, what were those guys that wore the panties on their head? They were like a rebellion group.
Oh, I have no idea.
Not a clue.
they were like anti-fascists.
Antifa?
Antifa, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So back in the day, whenever you punched in antifa.com, it went to the White House website. I'm not even playing. I don't know if it still does it.
I believe it.
I kind of like to know what, who
That's called a
screwed
hint.
that up. Yeah.
No, yeah, Soros
like
and these guys, they've been paying all these protesters. That's the thing that happens, though. When I was doing the radio show of Joe, that we actually had a guy who did that for a living. He would pay, like he was part of a company that shipped in protesters, and political people could pay to have these guys come in and protest. You know,
that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I said that was flat out evil, and the guy got mad at me. But or I asked him a snarky question that implied he was a villain, and he got mad at me. But anyway, yeah.
Out of curiosity, I did just type in Antifa.com, and it took me to Snopes, and Snopes was like, "It's mostly true."
Snopes is paid by freaking USAID too.
They are.
So it's true and false.
I think they are, yeah. True and false. What does that mean? Is that like up, down, or married bachelor?
Don't want to actually admit it.
Yeah, that's what that means.
Well, I could read it if you want.
Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it.
So what's true? In January 2021, the Antifa.com URL began redirecting users to whitehouse.gov, the official website for the newly inaugurated U.S. President Joe Biden.
Yep.
Previous versions of the redirect link pointed users to other websites, including joebiden.org, buildbackbetter.org, kamalaharris.org, and the self-described anarchist website itsgoingdown.org. So what part is false? However, there are no apparent links between the website redirects and the president or his cabinet.
Oh, I'm sure.
Anyone who owns or has access to a domain can establish whether a temporary or permanent URL redirect, which essentially tells a search engine that page has moved.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a thoroughly wonderful non-answer.
No, I think it makes sense.
Then explain it to me, because that just sounded like gobbledygook to me.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever set up a domain?
Yes.
Like you can type in what you want it to redirect to, right?
I don't think so.
It goes on to say, as of January 2021, it is still unknown who was responsible for the web redirects.
Well, I know. It was the CIA for USAID.
I don't know. That sounds like some pretty shoddy work, man. You would think they wouldn't let the White House domain own the other domains. Like, that's silly.
It's called rubbing it in. They're just rubbing it in. It's just salt in an open wound. It's like, we paid for all of it, guys. We beat you. Nah, 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 nah. It's like a game of tag. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've
bad.
chased this story as far as we could go. So, guys, if you want to learn more about this, go look up Mike Benz. Let's see if he's got his name on here. He doesn't. Yeah, here we go.
He drives a Mercedes for sure.
I don't. Ha 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 ha. So
I would if I was
Mike Benz. Well, yeah, it's like predestined. So Mike Benz, yeah, go watch his stuff. He's been doing the most research. He's been spearheading this whole thing for forever. So
yeah, he had a talk with Tucker Carlson about it too.
That's right. He just did an interview with Tucker Carlson. I actually watched it over the weekend. It's very good. So go check him out and learn about this, because
that's amazing. Well done.
Well done.
Pretty cool.
I don't know what you're saying, but it sounds fascinating.
Love you.
That's awesome. Oh, well, that warmed my heart, my cold, dead heart. So anyway, no, go check him out. He did an interview with Tucker Carlson, which is also fantastic. And we'll leave it to you guys to go look up more about this, because this was one of the most influential things that's going to happen during the Trump administration, I contend. This is a very big deal. And now that we know kind of what they're doing, we can look for that in the future. And I think we're going to find a lot more like this. According to Alex Jones, there's a bigger one coming down the pike, but we'll see. So we'll see what that is when the time comes. So,
all right.
With all that said,
everybody remember, Doge does not stand for Department of Government Efficacy. It stands for Department of Gay Elon.
Why you gotta drop that poison pill right at the very end there? I'm about to close this out, and you just bomb it. You just kill the momentum there, man.
Yeah.
Well, on that sour note, all right, we're gonna. Okay, now remember, we're not ending the stream. We're just breaking this up for the next episode, so I don't have to edit so much. So we're not actually leaving. Oh, come on, give me some hope. We're not. We're not actually leaving. We're going on to the next episode. So, for the end of this episode, this is the end of part 1. That being said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Faith, Fiction, and Folklore. If you did, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Rumble. We can also be found on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Thank you again very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.